To date, over 840 of his photographs have been exhibited in prestigious national and international salons worldwide, earning him more than 100 awards. In
To date,
1999, over 840 of his photographs have been exhibited in prestigious national and international salons worldwide, earning him. In 1999, he was conferred the fellowship of the International Photography Council, India International Photography Council, that is FIAPC, in fashion and advertising photography, and thus becoming the first person in India to receive this fellowship in the category, first from Andhra Pradesh, and youngest recipient in the country at that age, at that time also. His other notable honors include fellowship from Andhra Pradesh Photography Academy in 2018, fellowship Sigma Academy of Photography from Hyderabad in 2018, and ESFIP, that is Excellence in Service from Federation of Indian Photography in 2019, the only recipient from Andhra Pradesh to get this ESFIP so far. Fellowship Image Colleague Society of London in August 2025, and Lifetime Achievement Award from Academy of Visual Media from New Delhi in 2007. He also got Vocational Excellence and Lifetime Achievement Award from Rotary Club of Visakhapatnam. Mr. Agrawal has he has conducted many numerous national and international exhibitions. Also, he has been a jury member for many of the national salons across India and abroad. And he has conducted many workshops, including Vietnam, Bali, and Cambodia. And he has done extensive fashion photography workshops in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, as well as in Goa also. And he is a regular faculty at national and international photography conventions. He has served as Vice President of Andhra Pradesh State Academy of Photography. He was the former chairman of the Fashion and Advertising Division of IAPC and is a regular jury member of national and international photography salons, as I said earlier. Beyond photography, he is actively associated with several cultural and social organizations, including Rotary Internationals. He is also a Paul Harris Fellow, Intact, CART, and All India Marwari Federation. He is also a regular judge at beauty pageants and a committed blood donor. He must be very lucky to do it. None of us have got this chance. He has covered prestigious naval events such as the President's Fleet Review in 2005 and the International Fleet Review in 2017 at Visakhapatnam. And of course, as a photographer, he also has got his favorite tagline, that is, there is no stopping when your passion becomes your profession. So that is Mr. B.K. Agrawal to you. So today we are fortunate enough to have him with us. And I know that including me, every one of you are waiting to hear from you. Over to you, Mr. Amitabh, sir.
Thank you, Satish sir, for the introduction of BK sir.
My pleasure, sir.
All those who have been in personal touch with him, they know that he is an excellent faculty too. And his mentoring and the way he explains to even the first time person having the doing the photography is amazing. So now I invite BK sir to present his thoughts on compositional thinking. BK sir, क्या हुआ? Vijay sir, can you hear me?
Please unmute.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Satish and Amitabh for your kind words. Now, friends, I had given a similar webinar in 2021 in the same platform. So this time when Mr. Amitabh he announced my webinar for this month, for January, he mentioned that this webinar will be totally different from the earlier one. So in last webinar itself, I had extensively covered about composition. So I saw my, took it out, my old presentation, and saw already I have extensively covered. There was hardly anything left. I could not find anything that something is missing. Then I requested our friend Mr. Adit ji to see it and let me know if anything is missing, what I can add. And Mr. Adit ji, thankfully, he went through the YouTube recording, and he also felt that there is hardly anything missing. It is totally full. Completely all aspects are covered. Then I requested Mr. Ashok Kandimala also to see. He went through my presentation, and he also said that almost all the points are covered. He gave me a couple of points, and he shared his webinar on composition with me. So when I went through that, I could get a couple of new things in that, and that with his permission, I have included in my webinar today. So when I was thinking how to make it different, because both Mr. Adit Agrawal and Ashok Kandimala, they said that it is already, means your webinar is complete and there is not much, you can only change the pictures. But I thought changing pictures will amount to only changing the book cover. Content will be same. Only changing pictures is not what Mr. Amitabh is thinking of. It has to be a little different. So that was end of December, and because it was a vacation time, during vacation time our studio crowd is little more, customers are little more during vacations. So I could not concentrate, I could not think. Then I thought, okay, I will start thinking about the webinar next year, that is 2026. So 26 came and nothing was striking me. I will then suddenly, of course, let me share the on 2nd January 2026, suddenly the idea came to me how to make it different. And I would like to share that interesting time, how that idea came to me. And I would like to share, Amitabh.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So when I started thinking about composition, suddenly I felt, means I again, I'm sorry, there was a mistake in my earlier webinar. I had mentioned that painting and sculptures were around lakh of years old. That time Google had given me that information. This time, because in 21 there was no AI, so this time I took the help of AI and found that sculptures are, means the evidence of sculptures are found around 40,000 years back, and painting evidence, we have solid painting evidence which is 35,000 years old, and photography is of course only 187 years old. These are broadly three visual media what we see. So photography is only 187 years old. So when I was thinking about composition, so when I again asked AI, when did composition start in art? So surprisingly, composition in art had started only 500 years back. That means in 14th century, the composition started, because till that time people were painting only on walls, and walls were unending. There was no rectangle there was no frame. So definitely sculptures, of course, it was also means done on wall or singularly. Paintings were mostly done on walls, on ceilings, on fabric like saris, on dresses, and none of them had a boundary, a rectangle where they can compose. So there was no necessity of composing. So that time, uh, means the paintings, they were, this is from Ajanta, paintings were like this, and the sculptures, this is Cambodia's Angkor Wat, means the uh, sculptures on walls were like this, unending, and there was no frame, so there was no necessity of composition. So uh, till 14th century, then I asked AI, "Okay, when did this composition start?" So I was surprised to see that it means in 1420 only people started talking about composition, because painting had started earlier. Painting had started means people were painting on canvas, but nobody was thinking about composition. By observations by different artists, they realized that unless they follow some rules, the paintings are not so strong and they are weak. So they formalized some rules and guidelines for painting. So in this, Mr. Alberti wrote in 1435 about the first major treatise explaining about composition. He talked about perspective, balance, visual unity, placement of figures, where to put it in the frame. And now artists, they started planning composition consciously, how to put, how to paint and where to put their main subject. So in 15th and 16th century, our these famous painters like Leonardo da Vinci, Mr. Raphael, Michelangelo, these people, they furthered the rule of composition. Like they discovered triangular composition, that is pyramid composition, rule of thirds. It is in 16th century only rule of thirds uh, came to art. Then control movement and harmony. Please remember this word movement. This is very important in art, because unless there is movement in any art, whether it is photography, painting, or anything, it is a very passive piece of work and it is uninteresting. So there has to be movement, eye movement in the picture, in any form of art. So composition in 16th century was aesthetically and intellectually, it became a discipline for all the painters. And in 17th century, rules were formed and explained rather than broken. Means it became rules for them. It was no more suggestions, and they started using this diagonal composition, chiaroscuro, dynamic movement. Again, here he talks about movement and composition. They started teaching formally in their institutions. So in 17th century only, composition they started teaching in painting. Of course, photography was not there. In sculpture and painting, composition was taught. Then in 17th and 18th century, in Italy and France, I mean, they turned composition principle into formal doctrine. Means it became so important for them that it was a kind of doctrine for them. Then these rules were standardized and taught to generation of artists, all artists. In summary, that my rules of composition became a conscious and practice system during the Renaissance period, that is 15th century, and were formally codified by 17th century. That means only 300 years back, the rule of composition came, even if sculpture and painting were there since last 35,000 years. So it is very recently. So they took it so seriously, these rules of composition, that they developed a figure like this, geometrical pattern, calling it Fibonacci circle. And they said that the main subject in our composition should be placed in the eye of the spiral. This Fibonacci spiral or circle, they used to call it. And they even uh, put mathematics into it. It was totally scientific. Even composition, they made it look and sound like it is a scientific decision. But I believe that composition uh, refers to the way we decide to place our center of interest. There has to be a center of interest or subject in our picture. How we decide to keep it or place it in the frame to make a good picture. Means what is most important is to make a good picture rather than following a mathematical rule of composition. If the picture is good, whether we follow the rule or not, means today I feel that if the picture is looking good, whether it follows the rule of composition or not, that is perfect. So they even gave it a mathematical formula. Like we say that it is like 2/3, but it is not exactly 2/3. The suppose it is 30 centimeter or 30 feet or 30 inches. The upper half means one third, if it is 11, the other side is not 22, it is 19. So upper half or the golden line, what we call, is little more than one third, slightly more than, but it is mathematics. What basically this rule is saying that our subject should not be kept in the center. It should be off center, little away from the center, whether vertically or horizontally. So when did I heard about composition? When I was doing photography, I came to Visakhapatnam in 81, and in Orissa I was doing photography. There, those days there was no books, no magazines, no internet. Only from senior photographers we were hearing, and we were showing our pictures to them, and they used to say good or bad. Nobody was talking about composition rules and all that, because they also were beginners like us. I came to Visakhapatnam in 81. I met one Mr. P. Ramarao. He was AFIAP that time. So he was a senior photographer. I formed a club, or revived the club, Coromandel Camera Club, with him. We did our first exhibition, and that is how my journey started, like participating in salons. That was in 1983. So 83, in my first participation itself in our this thing, Mr. Rajan Babu, Mr. Prasad, and Sundar Raj, they were the judges. So in that I got, means it was only monochrome. Those days I participated in monochrome. I got 3 acceptances, one certificate of merit. The certificate of merit was on a nude picture. So that is because Mr. Rajan Babu was also practicing nude photography. After the exhibition, we became little closer and we started working together. In 92, Mr. Rajan Babu's club in Hyderabad, they conducted an international salon. So I had sent, that time color had already come. I had some few color pictures also, monochrome also. So I wanted to know, because in this between 83 to 92, when I was sending pictures, I had gathered some 40-50 acceptances and couple of awards that time. So I was baffled, because some picture which got a award in one contest or salon was rejected, not even accepted. Sometimes it was getting only acceptance, or sometimes it was even rejected. So as a novice, as a beginner, I was always confused, okay, why this picture had got award in that salon, why was it rejected? So how the judgment take place, I wanted to know. So I requested Mr. Azanbu, can I come and see the judging in Hyderabad? He said, yes, you can come. I went there to see that international judging. The judges were Mr. Rajan Babu, Mr. Rajgopal, C. Rajgopal, and Dr. N. Bhagwan Das, who was the founder of AP State Academy of Photography. And we were like little away, placed away from the judging table. Judging was going on. We were sitting in the back and we were watching. So one of my color picture were going ahead, and it was shortlisted for the award category. And when the award round was going on, that picture was finally shortlisted as the for FIAP Gold medal. There were two pictures shortlisted. One was my portrait, taken by me, and another picture from a Canadian photographer. So he was from Canada. It was two children with their school bag. They were going, and there was a tree with golden leaves. They were looking golden. The sun was coming from behind, and there was a golden line around the children. Beautiful picture, very good picture. And they were not able to decide which picture to give. Mr. Rajan Babu knew that it is my picture, but Mr. Rajgopal and Dr. Bhagwan Das didn't know that it is my picture and the author is in the audience. So anyway, my heart was beating very fast because FIAP Gold means a lot for a newcomer, a new photographer. So when they were unable to decide, Mr. Rajgopal asked Mr. Rajan Babu to give him a measuring scale, a measuring tape. So then the tape was brought and they measured the eyes of my portrait. So accidentally, it was exactly at 380, and the lower half was 612 something. 618 something, means as per their measurement, but it was all Greek to me. I was not understanding what they are doing. And the other Canadian, the picture from that Canadian photographer, it was not confirming to their measurement. So they decided to give that FIAP Gold to me. So what I'm trying to tell here is a person who had never heard of what is composition, never knew what is composition, and he gets a FIAP Gold. That it was simply by intuition I had composed that picture. It was accidental that it fell into the mathematical calculation of the rule of composition by painters, and I got that award. So I was curious. So by the time the judging was over, it was late in the evening. Then we went for dinner. There, I asked Rajan Babu, what were you doing? What was you measuring, and what is it all about? What is this composition that it is so mathematical that you measured it? Then he said, don't worry, I will tell you. And next day, he gave me this book, Anatomy of Picture, which was by Thomas, written by Dr. Thomas, who was the founder of FIP. Fine. So I went through it. To my surprise, I thought that composing, taking a picture is so means it has got such a big discipline. A book of around 100 pages. That book I still have with me. So anyway, I read it, learned many new things which I had never heard of: color composition, language of lines, language of color, all that I learned. Then after that, Rajan Babu started giving me books on paintings where language of color and lines were there and composition was there. The moment I finish one book, he will give me another book on body language or something. And that is how I slowly learned the disciplines in the art of photography. So I realized when I grew in photography and started judging salons, I realized that when we look at a photograph, we don't see everything at once. Our eyes, it enters the frame. Our eyes move around the image, and our mind reacts. And our emotions, it responds. And in around couple of this whole process, it takes hardly 3 seconds. There are many judges sitting here today. They will realize that when we are judging, generally in 2-3 seconds, we decide whether it is a good picture or a bad picture. And by within 5 seconds, we have completed the score. Our scoring is over in 5 seconds. So the whole process of seeing the image, the eyes have moved, our emotions have reacted, and we have decided what score to give. It takes hardly 4-5 seconds. So definitely we are not measuring any composition of any picture with a tape or going into that kind of details. So what finally matters is the impact of the picture on the mind of the judges, and that is how they're judging. Yeah, the basic, they say whether the placement is correct or not, the picture has the impact or not. And when we're talking about impact, we're talking about the emotions in the mind of judges, how they react to the picture. So I felt that composition is not about placing the objects inside the frame only, means where to place, but it is also about guiding our attention to the subject and controlling our perceptions, our emotions, our reactions to the picture is also equally important. It is not just by placing the subject in the two-third is everything in composition, or that just placing the subject in two-third makes a picture a good picture is not correct. Composition, it must, it is beyond that. It is much more than just placing the subject in the frame. So in this session, we will be discussing about how image express and they move or they evoke a reaction from the judges, and how human mind reads them. It is finally the mind what reads them, and we judge whether it is a good picture or a bad picture. So in this session, we will not only talk about rules, we will also talk about why some images hold our attention and why others they fail. So we must know, in the end, I am going to tell you the simplest way how we should assess our picture. And because it looks very complex when we are talking about the rules and the guidelines in composition, and we're discussing so seriously, people get different. I mean, so in the end, I will tell you for beginners, particularly so, senior photographers, they all know, but even for senior photographers, means there is something new which is in the what is composition in this AI world. It has totally changed. Means it is no more the same as the pictorial composition we are following till now. So anyway, this is a default slide in all my presentation because I am a fashion and glamour photographer. My presentations are never without glamour images. So people who are not comfortable with nudity, they are free to walk out any moment. Anyway, so the moment we talk about uh, photography, photography is combination of science and art. It is like in painting, it is mostly art, very less science, how the paint is made, how the brush is made, very small part is science. Uh, but in photography, what happens, the camera itself is a machine, so it is made by science. Physics is involved. In exposure, the shutter speed, the aperture, again, it is science. Focusing mechanism also is science. And white balance, how we control the color in different lighting condition, that is also science. Also, uh, whether we know the art side of night of photography, just by knowing science, we can take pictures. But does it make artistic pictures or good pictures? No, unless there is proper composition. That is, how do we place our subject in the frame? What the kind of lighting we select? That also has a lot of importance. Whether it is creating the right mood or not, whether it is creating the right emotion or not, how to use the lines and shape in our picture. Combination of all this only generates the right impact, or makes a picture good or bad. But in spite of all this, Ansel Adam has said, anybody in photography, they must be knowing Ansel Adam. So he said that there is nothing more useless than a sharp photograph of a fuzzy concept. So what he is saying, that science doesn't make a good picture unless there is a good concept in the picture. So concept, as per him, is more important than the science. Then, for example, let us look at this picture. This is, if we look at the science, well exposed, well focused, focusing is correct, a picture. But when we look at it, our eyes, it do not rest anywhere. It moves around. It is a chaos. It is a clutter. We don't see the center of interest in the picture, and we, after some time, we get tired. We don't find any center of interest in this, and nobody will consider it is just confusion or chaos photograph. Even if science is correct, this doesn't create the emotion except a chaos in our mind. Whereas, if we see this picture, so scientifically it is wrong. It is not even, the focus is also not correct. So what was happening when I was taking this picture in Goa beach in the evening, means when I was moving in I was having a workshop of swimwear there. When we suddenly I saw that on the beach there was a cross and a bride was standing in front of it and praying. So my focusing point was off center in the golden point somewhere here, and it was flat sky. So it was struggling to focus it. So when I saw that when the camera is struggling and it is the subject is out of focus, it is looking more interesting rather than a sharp picture. So I immediately shifted to manual focus and took the picture in out of focus. Now, when it was out of focus, I took that picture because somehow it struck me. Means it created an emotion in me. I was unable to realize what emotion it is, but I found that the out of focus picture looked more interesting than the sharp image, and I took the picture. And before I could focus back and take another picture, she had moved. So this image, when we look at the message that she is praying, total submission, or maybe confession or faith in God, we get that message clearly. The concept is clear, even if it is a means out of focus picture. So here, that means the earlier picture which was correct scientifically, this picture which was not in focus and no shadow details, not correct. But this picture has a more emotional quotient to it than the scientifically correct picture. So I realized that yes, this also is very important in photography. So Ansel Adam had also written that there are no rules for good photographs. There are only good photographs, he says. So even in this book, there is a chapter, means the author writes in his final word. Are you able to see the books? But anyway, you cannot read it. I will read it out. Dr. Thomas writes as his final word. This is his final word in the book. He writes that we have gone through the grammar and syntax of pictorial composition. That is indeed a very valuable step in enabling the artist to understand the meaning and content of pictorialism. It should be made amply clear here that a studied synthesis of elements to bring about a rule book of composition is neither aimed at nor desirable. So he says that I'm not trying to form any rule here. Writing this book, my aim is not to form any rule for composition. It is he says the meaning and content of composition. And then he says, on the other hand, if one would program oneself thoroughly as to the intuitive, intellectual, and emotional implications of pictorial composition, one's approach to finding and making pictures become automatic and spontaneous. So here he has also mentioned in 1991, when this book was published, that it is the emotional quotient which is more important in making a picture rather than the rules of composition. And he says, I'm not writing this book to form any rules for composition. So, but it is very important to know the basics, even if it is not a rule. But it is important to know the basics, what makes a stronger picture. It is the grammar of art. So it is essential that we should know the basics. It is important. But these are not rules, these are guidelines. Painters have made rules, but photographers have not made rules, they have made guidelines. There is a difference. Rules means plagiarism in photography is not allowed. Too much of editing or manipulation in our wildlife section, travel section, journalism is not allowed. These are rules. But rule of two-third, color, these are guidelines. But you have to wear a helmet while driving is a guideline. In some state, they may have made it a rule, some country they have made it a rule, but it is not implemented very strictly in India. It is a guideline. For our safety, we should use. Drunken driving is a guideline. We should not drink and drive. These are guidelines. But rules cannot be broken if it is rule. So there is a difference. And in photography, these are guidelines what we're going to discuss, we don't call it rules. So most of the guidelines in photography, because we were only 187 years old, by the time photography came, painting had matured. They had matured a lot, means 30,000 years of history had the painters were much matured. They knew about color, lines, painting much more. And photographers, our guidelines are derived mostly from painting. Besides that, there was another reason why we started making our pictures look like painting, like we were imitating painting in composition, color, and all. When photography started, people had already accepted sculpture and paintings as art. But photography, people were not readily accepting as art because they say it is machine made. There is a machine involved, not the photographer, not the artist. So it is machine made. So they were not considering it art. And the photographers were going overboard to make it look like painting so that it will be accepted as an art form. That is why they were aping or imitating the rules and regulations of painting to make it look like paintings or art. That was also one of the reasons that our guidelines were derived from that. So in photography, a good picture must have a center of interest. There should be a subject, and the subject, the viewer's attention should drawn to it effortlessly. When we look at the picture, we should be able to see the subject, because our emotions, we have seen that it is formed within 2-3 seconds. So if we are not able to see, like the clutter picture I have shown, if we are not able to see our subject within those 2-3 seconds, our mind rejects it. We don't get emotion and we reject it. We don't feel that it is a good picture. And this is where how to place the subject in the frame so that it gets the attention of the viewer and the right emotion in the viewer. This is where the rule of composition or the guidelines of composition starts. So basically, means fundamentally, we are taught that it is rule of two-thirds or the golden points. We have to keep our subject off center to make it interesting. And this rule was so widely accepted that now even our camera manufacturers have started putting grid lines in camera. Mobile manufacturers have started putting the grid line to guide newcomers that put your subject in these points, pictures will be better. So they feel that this is the only rule of composition to make a picture looking good. This is the rule. And that is why it is accepted in the tool itself. It means as the only rule of composition. So what happens when we look at a picture? First, like our eyes goes to the center by default. When we look at a rectangle, our eyes by default look at the center of the frame first. And no effort is required to find it. If the subject is in the center, we look at the subject, very ordinary picture, and then our eyes don't move, and very soon we get bored, very ordinary picture, very boring, very passive picture, and we lose interest. Whereas, and if the subject is in the center, there is no visual journey for the eyes. The image look passive, flat, or uninteresting. Whereas, if we look at the picture and our eyes are little moving around, so little changing in the angle of taking the picture makes it little more interesting. The subject is not in the center, there are some lines, there are some other things. Our eyes move around the picture and they find that, okay, this picture is at least better than the earlier one where the subject is in the center. So composition works best when our eyes are made busy or they are made to move around. Not when it stops immediately, it gets tired and bored. Let us look at this picture. Now you have already formed in your mind in these 2 seconds whether it is a good picture or bad picture. But subconsciously, our mind has gone to the subject because we are in a country where we write from left to right. So our eyes generally enter our frame in the left side. The subject is kept in the left side, and subconsciously our eyes has moved to the tree, to the framing trees, then to the backside mist, and it goes to the next tree, and they are both not identical, they are different, they are not symmetrical, then comes to the stone or comes to the foreground and comes back to the subject. Our eyes moved around the picture and immediately we form. It is not a written discipline. It's subconsciously our mind has done all that within the 2-3 seconds. We have not strategically done that, moved our eyes or anything. Just we looked at the subject and within 2-3 seconds the impression is made and we decide whether it is a good picture or a bad picture and scoring is given. So besides making a perfect picture, I realized that there has to be some imbalance, some tension in the image to make it look good. So if the eyes move and this is done by providing some imbalance in the image intentionally. So when I was discussing with Mr. Amitabh the other day about this point, when we generally do a pre-screening to see whether everything is working perfectly or not. So when we were discussing on this point, he said he is a dealer. For people who do not know, let me tell you that he deals with gift items. So a lot of handicraft. So he said even in handicraft also, if the piece is flawless, it is machine made. If it is a handmade, if it is handicraft, there has to be some flaws in it. It cannot be 100% perfect. Whether it is a hand printed sari or it is a handicraft, unless there is a flaw, if it is 100% perfect, it might not be a handicraft, it might be machine made. Like the toys coming to India or the handicrafts coming to us from China, which are machine made. Let us take a test. Means how does this tension helps us in photography? I will request Amitabh or I will request all my friends to unmute their mic. So I need everybody to react to this. Now, this image, what do we notice in this picture? I want reactions from our friends. What do they notice in this?
The frame is slightly tilted.
Okay.
The frames on top.
Yes.
They're slightly
Anybody?
tilted.
Okay. Anybody
Creating that tension.
Yeah.
I feel and the size of both the kettle, this thing are different.
Kettles are different. One is written, one is not written. There is a curvature on the table. A lot of asymmetry in the picture.
Yeah, that is, there is lack of symmetry which creates the mind to react. Why it is like this? Why there is no symmetry? Why one frame is tilted, one kettle is small, other one is big, much bigger. Like this, the mind starts thinking and roaming within the picture.
So, thank you, friends. You have seen that a frame which is hardly less than 5% of the image, our attention went to the imbalance or the defect in the picture. It drew our attention first. If the image is perfect, like this, then we will be looking at the kettle, looking at the frames, looking at the lamp, looking at that shaft of shadow in left hand side. Just because I am asking you to find faults or find something in this, we will be discussing. But finally, we decide it is a ordinary and bad picture. But this picture created some interest in us because of the imbalance in it. So this happened on 2nd January when I sat down for breakfast on table. What happens? My wife has given instructions to the maid that in every 15 days or twice in a month, she should clean all the frames and paintings in the house. But whenever she does means cleaning, the frames are tilted because she wipes it with a cloth or does what. So the frames get tilted, and she doesn't have the sense of correcting it back again. She leaves it just like that. And when I see this, I get a lot of tension. I become restless. Till I go and correct it, hang it correctly, I don't get peace. So if even if I'm eating and suppose I notice this, I will stop eating. I will go correct it. Otherwise, still I cannot eat peacefully. So it will create so much of disturbance in the mind. And if it is like this, I simply ignore it. I don't look at it twice. So this is where composition, if our subject is in the center, it is perfect, it is fully safe, it doesn't create any interest to us. So if there is some imbalance, so if the subject is off center, that is not perfectly balanced, little off center, little imbalance. That is why keeping our subject off center is more interesting because of the deviation from the safety, and it is more interesting. So our images are made of lines. Lines are again of different shapes, vertical lines, horizontal lines, diagonal lines, curved lines, wavy lines. So these our images, and of course the right side ball, what you see. Uh, so our images are made up of lines, shapes, colors, and forms, and they all have their individual language. It is not that they are just simple lines. Every line, every type of line, every type of form has its own language, and it speaks, it expresses. And the artist has to make a decision consciously how to use them to make his work have the desired impact. Whether the lines are properly used or not, whether the form is correctly used or not, then only the desired impact comes. So that is how we have to use this very, very judiciously in our images to make our image successful. But photography is not made to impress others. Photography is made to discover ourselves. When I started participating in salons, and I started my journey in salons in around 83, and in 99, means after meeting Rajan Babu and getting the knowledge about composition and all, means my success rate increased. I started getting more. And by 99, I had accumulated around 800 acceptance and more than 100 awards. 99, I got fellowship. So by that time, I was already feeling tired. What is this? Whenever we are taking picture, we are taking picture only to please the judges. Whenever we are lifting our camera, we are thinking how the judge will feel about this picture. So it was making me feel very bad that we are taking picture. Means we are not keeping our emotion, our interest in mind. We are always thinking about how a judge will react to this picture or how he will assess this picture. So that made me decide that no, photography is our own discipline, and we do it for ourselves, not for the judges. And I have done already 15 years of silent participation, learned a lot of things. Of course, silent participation has its own advantages, but creativity was suffering. Means always our mind, it becomes an intuition, it becomes a habit to keep our subject in the to exact two-third and to click it. I was not very comfortable with that idea, and I stopped participating silence from 2000. That is, in those years and those time, only prints were sent, and very few silence were conducted. Hardly 32 silence were completed. I was always within the best 5 of the country in those days. And then I got tired of it, and I stopped participation in 2000. So composition is a visual decision making. Rules don't make strong photographs. Understanding does. Today, we will improve our understanding of pictures rather than the technique of photography. Rather than the rules in composition, we will try to understand. And only 3-4 days back, something new, a new knowledge came to me, that in what is happening to this composition in our artificial intelligence era, that I will show you in the end. Also, I will show you in the end how to judge our picture, the easiest way to know whether our picture is strong or not strong. So that we will discuss in the end. Before we move ahead in our session, let us do another psychological test. Whether our observation power is strong, whether we interpret the language of lines. Even if we have not read the language of lines, I have gone through those books, but I know that many of the audience today might not have gone through books of paintings, so they might not have read about the language of lines, color, form, shape, space. So, but we have an inbuilt power to read. Even if we have not gone through formal training, we still understand by observation the language of lines and the power of lines and color in the photography. So let us see this image. So the moment I realized that it is the imbalance in the picture, those tilted frames were creating interest, then second thing I noticed was the this flask on my table, and I took a picture. Now I will request my friends to give a interpretation to flask. What do they feel when they look at this picture?
It feels.
So eye movement.
It
So
feels,
eye movements.
Direction.
feels as though Mr. Agrawal has taken the picture.
Pardon?
It looks as though Mr. Agrawal has taken the picture.
Yeah, so ordinary. Yeah. Next.
It's so balanced and aesthetic. Simple subject.
Anil sir.
I feel the imbalance of these two objects creating the interest in this particular vision.
Okay.
But I will feel, what I feel, Mr. Vijay, that
Yes.
the places should be interchanged. The smaller flask should come on the left and the bigger one on the right. Why?
Region?
Why? Because when we enter through the left and we come upon the bigger flask, so our eyes stand there. They get a jerk. But if we simply replace the bigger flask with the smaller one, our eyes have a scope and space to move further to the right and then come back again.
You have valid point. I will talk about this point little later.
There is one more point here. So there is one more point is when we are interchanging the position of the jugs, the handle should also be shifted. One, we are seeing in the symmetrical way, direction of the handles in the same way. Suppose we keep the smaller jug on the left side, keep the handle on the left, and the bigger jug on the right side, and keep the handle on the right side, then it is more symmetrically to the eyes, and the eye movement flows very smoothly in that.
Okay.
Too heavy on the left side, sir.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add anything more?
Yeah, these look like penguins, sir.
Very correct. Very correct. These are called penguin mugs, actually flasks.
Okay.
Now let us look at the language of lines. The cap looks like a head of the penguin.
Yeah,
If they're human beings, it is the head. The
Mahesh, yeah.
spout in front, the beaks looks like our nose. The backside
Hanji,
handle looks like the wings of the penguin or our hands. So if we feel that these are two human beings or two animals, so what we see that they are moving ahead together. There is a sync, there is a harmony in their relationship. One is a dominant figure, bigger one, and the one is a subordinate figure. Maybe let us say that they are teacher and student, maybe parent and the child, or maybe a husband and wife. So a dominant figure, the bigger one, and the smaller figure, which is a subordinate one. But they are in perfect sync, perfect harmony. They are traveling together. Now, you will all understand the next slide. Now tell me, what do you feel about it?
Both of them are looking at each other.
So in the first one, the eye was moving from the bigger kettle to the other opposite direction. Here the eye has stopped as both the kettles are talking to each other. That's what I am feeling.
Right, right.
Sir, the site is exactly on the center. It's not moving anywhere in the frame.
Yes.
I
looks like an interaction between
I
the
stick to the old
two
position,
elements.
my earlier position, that the larger flask should come on the right side and the smaller one on the left side. But the handle, as it is now in this position, so when the smaller flask comes on the left, that handle should come further left. And likewise the other one, bigger one.
Most of you are almost in the target. The lines now looking at each other harmoniously, so there is a communication, there is an interaction peacefully, and there is harmony in the picture, there is peace in the picture, there is no conflict. But the moment we look at this picture, we understand that there is conflict between them. Whether wife and husband, they have fought, or the student and the teacher, or the parent and the child. So there is some noise coming, sir. Anyway, so now what we have realized, that means without looking at the composition.
Hello, Vijay sir.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
mute all, and please unmute yourself or the people who are asking the question.
Yeah. Okay. So that
because
means,
New Zealand match is going on, some people are watching that also parallelly.
We are not hearing.
Mr. Vijay sir, you please unmute and talk.
Vijay sir, please unmute yourself.
Mr. Vijay Agrawal. Mr. Agrawal. BK Agrawal.
Yes, sir.
yes. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yes, doctor.
The first picture looks like what you would take, and the rest of them are only explanations for the sake of this presentation.
Exactly. To understand the language of lines, shape, form, only there are nothing else in these three pictures except lines and shape and forms. So there is no color. It's almost monochromatic. But even then, by looking at these lines, we have got the message about harmony, disharmony, balance in them. And by looking at a bigger form or shape, we understand it is the dominant figure, the other one is subordinate figure. So even without a formal training, so many things we know subconsciously, and we are able to read a picture. That is what I wanted to show. That means our minds, whether it is trained or not trained, we read lines and forms and we get messages. Okay?
You must have taken a lot of effort to take these wrong compositions.
Okay. So now let us look at this picture. What do we feel about this picture? Now all of you are experts in reading lines.
Two groups are talking to each other.
Arguing rather.
Okay, good. Why do we feel that they're arguing with each other, doctor?
There is a conflict here.
Yes. Why do you feel like that, sir?
Because of their shape, that impression comes to us, and also because on the left side, some 2 are in red, other 4 are in white, whereas on the right side, all are in red.
And
that also has an impact.
And the other thing is the majority of the birds are looking at one side, and there's a small group which is facing them, and it appears that they could be arguing.
Yeah. No, you are 100% right that there is an argument. But why you said it is a conflict and means argument? Because their chin are up. When our chin is up, it is like we are having ego and there is confrontation. So without knowing the body language, you have understood it, that they are arguing. It is not in harmony. They are not sync. Let us say this is the board of directors or the owner of the factory, and these are all workers. So they are facing the workers, and both sides are in their ego, and there is an argument going on. You have read it correctly. But the grammar, why we felt like that? Because we have not read those books formally. We have not undergone the training to read lines. We could not explain it correctly, but the message was clear that it is a confrontation. So that is what I am telling. That means we all know subconsciously the rules of the message our lines and form gives to us. And even if we have not read about body language, even if we have not read about the language of color, the message is clear to us. So every ordinary person knows the line of, means whether he is an artist or not an artist, he knows the language of lines, color, and form. Now, in photography, there are only 2 ways how we can use the viewfinder or our rectangle. It is horizontal and vertical. And when we take a picture, how do we decide whether to take a horizontal picture or vertical picture? So we have to decide while taking whether to use vertical or horizontal framing. So now we are talking about language of lines now. A little formal training to all of us. I will not say training, means I'm sharing my experience or what I have learned. So the vertical lines, it depicts strength, power, dignity, masculinity. They look strong. Whereas you see this man means in vertical composition looks strong. Of course, with so much of muscles in any position, he will look strong. But look at this picture. Even if it is a petite, semi-clad female, she looks strong or manly because she is standing erect. It is not having curves of femininity. She looks strong, looks like a strong woman. So vertical composition we should do to show wherever the strength or dignity we want to show. Whereas horizontal lines depicts rest, peace, weakness, and death. We take why it is called landscape picture, because landscape is generally peaceful or in rest. We get a peaceful feeling. when we look at landscape. Anybody wants to say something? Okay. So, things where we want to show rest, death, or weakness, or peace, we use horizontal framing. Now, look at this picture, horizontal framing, and she looks as if she is about to retire at night before retiring in that peace of night or in that privacy. She wants to write a letter to somebody, and it doesn't show strength, it doesn't show anything. Whereas that tall tree, when it is in horizontal format, when it has fallen, it looks weak or dead. Diagonal lines represent movement, energy, and action. If she is just standing straight, it will not look as if there is action in the picture, there is movement in the picture, or there is energy in the picture. The moment it is diagonal, it shows that she is moving. Movement is quite evident. So in this picture, they don't look like they are standing. They look as if they are really dancing. That effect comes to our mind because we have used diagonal line. Nobody can hold a heavier wife like this and just stand for a few minutes. And these are curved lines. Curved lines, they depict femininity, sensuality, flexibility. So wherever we want to show femininity or sensuousness, they must have curved lines. We should use curved lines as composition or curved lines. They look better, means more feminine. That lady standing straight without any curves was looking manly. Here, both of them, they look more feminine than that image. You see, same thing. In this, we have curved lines. She looks feminine, but the same girl standing straight like this, totally the message is different. Like she's a strong girl, means she's a strong woman, not a very flexible woman. It doesn't show flexibility when we are using. So wherever we want to use strength or masculinity, we should use or means dignity vertical format, and whether in vertical format or horizontal format, when we want to show femininity and sensuousness, we should use curved lines, or we have to make them pose where there are curves to show femininity. Now, with this language we have just now acquired from the earlier slides, now it is very easy to understand this picture. The left side cock looks like the husband giving a earful to his wife. Vertical line showing strength, the horizontal line showing weakness, and the this erect neck makes it very clear that means he is stronger than the horizontal line, and the withdrawal of the neck and that submissive look means there is no doubt that husband is giving a earful to the wife or to the child. If it is their human being, we can easily say it is domestic violence. So combination of lines, shape, and body language is inherent to us, means we understand looking at the lines without any explanation. Now, what Mr. Adit was saying about the smaller one first and the bigger one second should be introduced when we were talking about the flask. We write from left to right. There are few languages like Arabic language, Hebrew, Persian language, Urdu, Pashto. These languages they write from right to left. So we have a habit that we enter into any frame in the left-hand side first, even if there are two semi-clad girls standing there. But first we see here, and the line takes us to the subject. And this is when the graph is going up, it says it is growth. And when the line comes down, it is decline. of the human being. So here, when we look at the picture, we feel how they must have gone up. There are no steps visible, how they must have climbed up there. And we feel unsafe, little imbalance, they will fall into the sea. So the line we have entered here, and the line, our leading line, has taken us to the subject. And the emotional side is the insecurity. They may fall, they are off center. So again, insecurity. And the message little moves us or gives us an emotional feeling that they're insecure. They may fall, how they have gone to that place. Whereas this image, our attention first goes to the models, then the declining lines. So ascending lines also, it signifies growth. When means any graph we see, if it means if the company is showing growth, it is always ascending lines, and if it is losing business or it is in loss, it shows descending lines in their graph. So now here, when we see this image, now first we see the models, then we look at this, and we feel how they will get down now, how they will descend from this place, where this is descending line. So when we were looking at this flask, that is what we were getting in our message. That means it is not showing growth. We could not explain it in exact words, but that is the message it was giving. Now let us look at the usage of lines in this. The moment we look at that, means centrally placed, not off center. This picture cannot be shifted off center. The erect body posture, it shows power, dignity, or strength of this image. And no doubt about it, he is the biggest businessman of our city, Mr. Prabhakar. He has a turnover of 7,000 crores in a year. There are 22,000 people working under him. Recently, his biography was written, so for that they wanted some images, and I had taken this picture. So I did not ask him to sit in a particular way. The moment he sat, he sat like this, because power and authority was inbuilt in him. So, it is in his DNA. Power is in his DNA, so automatically he sat on the chair like this, and I took a picture. But when I expanded the boundary, so this picture looks like an emperor or a powerful man, but the more space around him gives him as if he has a big kingdom, means he has power over a bigger area, bigger place. So this is the language of space. But we cannot shift him even 1 inch this side or that side. It has to be centrally placed, otherwise the picture will look imbalanced. Even if we are violating the rule of our composition, the subject is kept in the center. I can take solace that the face is not in the center, it is in the upper 2/3, but the subject is dead in the center. The impact is clear, power and dignity is clear in this. But the adding more space, rather than this picture looks as if he has power on a bigger area than this picture. So this is the language of space in our language. If we want to shift him to one side or to make him off center, then we have to add something to balance that. Shifting him to one side to make him off center, unless there is something supporting him. And of course, we have to keep something up. This is artificially created in AI. Just then only we can move him off center. Unless we keep something here, it was not possible. The picture was not looking strong. Now look at this image. Now, learning from the earlier image, now we have got the message. She also looks powerful. Maybe the queen of her empire. The red cloth, which stands for power, the language of color, means she's sitting and she is in a powerful position on her throne. The mask adds a lot of secrecy. The satin, green and purple cloth adds royalty to the picture. And we get a feeling she must have worked hard to reach this position. Maybe she is a cruel. The nudity depicts that she is a tribal woman or a queen of some tribal community, and she must have eliminated many because she looks so ruthless and cruel in this posture. She might have eliminated many to reach the stone. So the space shows us she has a big empire. She is an empress of a big kingdom and powerful, ruthless woman. And to stay in that power, she can do anything. Now, we were talking about language of lines and in composition. Now, even if we are violating the rules of our composition, not keeping our subject in two-thirds, but our message is not diluted, our emotion is not diluted, message was crystal clear. Now, let us understand a little bit about the language of colors. What do they do? So, colors also have a language, and this is the most complicated language. Colors means when they're complementary colors, they give something combinedly, then the tertiary colors, subsidiary colors, then their combinations, everything changes the meaning of the image. So there is a color wheel. Generally, if we keep the complementary color against the background, our subject is visible clearly. Suppose there is greenery in the background. If our subject is in red, it will be very clearly visible. If our background is blue, if our subject is clad in orange, means it will be our subject center of interest will be very clearly visible. So you can see there are primary color, complementary color, then there are subsidiary color, and there are tertiary color. And their combinations are different. This is, I have already read 3 books on color, but still means I'm not very clear about the language. But one thing I know that they have, on my intuition, I work, I put a particular color on my subject and I take, and I am happy with the result. If I could get international gold medal without knowing the rule of composition, I thought my intuitions are working fine. So, but the basic languages we should use, for the beginners, we should use complementary color. You can see the message written in almost almost closer to the color of the background is less visible to us, whereas the message written in a complementary color, the message is very clear, means we are able to read it. Our attention goes to that without any difficulty. So now, when we are taking picture using complementary color, our subject we don't lose, we see it immediately, whether it is a person, of animals, or of flowers, of insect, anything. If we use complementary color, we don't miss the subject. It howls at us. It is almost howlingly clear. Whereas, so now we are talking about the language of color. So what happens? Bold colors, it is for youthfulness. They are rebellious, they are youthful, and they don't mind experimenting with bold color. So anybody wearing bold colors, print, or designs like this, even if he is an old man or she is an old woman, we feel they are youthful in their heart. So bold colors or this thing gives us youthfulness. Now you see, I have highlighted my own language of colors of what I was talking about, red against red. I'm not using a complementary, but the message is clear. She is rebellious. She is a model. She doesn't care about the society. She doesn't care about breaking rules. So even if we break the rule of color composition, still the message we get. Again, white against white, but white stands for innocence. It stands for simplicity, peace. So when we take pictures of children, we generally use softer colors. So that means innocence and peace is visible there in that. So light tones, they depict innocence, simplicity, and serenity. So now look at this old man. So I asked, this was my image. I asked AI to make me look flamboyant. I uploaded this image and asked AI to make me look flamboyant. So you see, the international rule or message for flamboyancy is printed shirt, sunglasses, hat. These are associated with flamboyancy of person. So anybody wears something like this. So now we have got the message that this man must be very youthful in nature, or he is again rebellious, or means very jovial person, and he looks younger. This man looks a little more decent, right-hand man, and look a little more matured. You take him a little more seriously than left side man. So the color changes in the dress also changes our character. By using a different color, our character has changed. Our mentality, we are getting a different insight into the character of the human being by just the color and the dress. Again, I asked AI to make me look a little more serious, more philosophical, like a philosopher, and immediately it painted. First, it said, no, your face doesn't fit with this thing. But I said, still, you try. So it created a picture like this. That means anybody who is very serious or very dignified, decent, or matured should use gray color or black goes with that. And if we want to look philosopher, we must have a beard and this kind of spectacle. Then we look. And also notice it has removed that color flowers from the background because that was diluting the image of seriousness. It has removed on its own. So that means internationally it is accepted that people who are serious should look like this, people who are young at heart should look like this, and gentlemen should look like this. This is the language we get looking at this image. That is when we take the picture, means we use darker color background, darker color dresses, and so they look more mature and more philosopher-like. It is not only in portrait, even in landscapes. By color, we get a different message. Mr. Adit Agrawal was with me in the same boat. When we went to Jabalpur, this is Beda Ghat, we have taken this picture in broad daylight. But now when we look at this picture, we feel as if it is taken in moonlight night. And these two boats, maybe enemies, are doing a dangerous voice, maybe going to attack they're visible only because of the reflection of the moon on the water, otherwise they will be invisible. And night time they are going. So the moment we give that night effect or gloomy effect, a psychology of secrecy comes to our mind. Something secret is happening in this picture, and it is a nighttime effect that comes even in landscapes. Black and white. Black and white. Why we like black and white picture? Because if you read human psychology, anything which is truthful doesn't look as artistic. Anything which is away from the truth looks more artistic to us. So this same picture would not have so much of pathos if we see the background, green background behind it, and the golden fur of the monkeys. The child has died and the mother is weeping. The pathos, the message will be diluted with a green background. The language of green is totally different. It depicts health and tranquility, and the picture message will be unclear. For such images, we should convert where the expression we want to highlight, and there are disturbing colors giving the other messages. We should take those pictures or convert them into black and white so that the message is not diluted. Now let us picture what I was telling. Our Ganesha is like the picture in the left hand side. Our Ganesha looks like this, not like the right side. But if I ask you which Ganesha looks more artistic, maybe many of you will say that right side Ganesha looks more artistic, who doesn't resemble it is not a true picture of Ganesha, it is far from the truth, but looks more artistic than the truth. Am I right? Anybody wants to respond?
Very true, sir. Very true. Yes. I agree with you.
Thank you very much. Now, let us see the image. This was taken in Cambodia, that floating village. Now, if you read, it looks like a travel photograph because it is in color. But if you write, it is Chong Prole Primary School. That means the school is also floating, and the children, they come to the school or go after the school is closed by boats. So in color, it looks like a travel picture, but when it is converted into black and white, we feel, my God, so much of a hardship. It is flooded. The school is flooded. Children are reaching it by boat, or the school is flooded. So the message totally changes when it is in color and when it is in black and white. So we must understand which image will look stronger in black and white, what is the message it is trying to tell us, and which picture will look better in color. Now, these are the languages of color, because it is a very vast subject. Each book is not less than 300-400 pages. And whenever we try, we cannot read more than 20-30 pages. It is so boring. And so, of course, for a painter, maybe it is interesting, but I found it very difficult to read, but I had to complete reading it. So white stands for peace, simplicity, purity. Red for violence, power, aggression, anger. Yellow for happiness, sunshine, jealousy. Orange for energy, warmth, youthful. Pink, love, tenderness. Blue, tranquility, coolness. Purple, royalty. I told you that woman was wearing a little purple dress and satin dress. It gives royalty, nobility, and spirituality. Green is for health, generosity, fertility. And black is for grief, depression, sophistication, seriousness, maturity. So black or dark gray, they depict these messages. So whenever we want, I'm a portraitist, so when I want a particular message to be clear, accordingly I suggest the dress and I use them. So what I'm trying to tell, that subconsciously we all have the basic understanding of the language of color, lines, shape, body language without any formal training. Just like we can differentiate good music from bad one. I am not a musician, but some songs or some music appeal to me. Even if I do not know the grammar of music, I can differentiate between a good music or bad music. All of you means who listen to it, some music they like, some music they don't like. Maybe they are not musicians. Now, let us now put all our knowledge in photography, all the language of color, lines, what type of picture we take portraits, we take landscapes, we take wildlife photographs, we take journalistic picture, travel picture. So we are going to put all this knowledge we have learned into our photographs now, systematically. In portrait photography, what are the rules? Now, if we are taking portrait, the painters have fixed some rules even for portraiture. Portraiture, if we are composing, the rules of composition in portrait photography, we should not take a picture where neck is visible and we should not crop it here. What happens, it is like on a stick or a bamboo stick, a matkai is kept, a head is kept, and it is imbalanced, it may fall. It gives us a sense of insecurity, doesn't look balanced or doesn't look safe. But the moment we include little bit of shoulder, it gets a pedestal and the picture gets stability. And the head, we don't feel insecure that the head may fall. This little bit of shoulder gives a pedestal or stability to the head on the top of that. The moment we want to include more than that, then we should crop little above the elbow joint. We should not crop it below the elbow joint. Our hands will look amputated. It will look bad. I'm talking about an ideal portraiture. So it will look amputated and picture will not look comfortable. So if we have to add little more for any particular reason, then we can always fold the hand like this, or we can keep it in other way so that means the hands are totally included. If we go below this, again, we cannot crop it just in the wrist area. The hands will look like they're amputated. We should include the total hand. Going below that, if we are including more than that, we should crop at the just above the knee, not below the knee. Again, we will get the same feeling. The moment we go below this level, we have to include the full figure. This is the rules by painters. They apply this. Even in photography, we do that, and we have seen that the same effect is there when we take picture. There is another rule that in ideal portraits, we should not chop off the head. We should not crop the head in ideal portraiture, because the head also is part of our personality. Particularly for dancers, their costumes have to be full. Even for human being, full head has to be there, because just by looking at the head, we can recognize a person. The moment we go for a haircut, we look different, because we are seen little different. We look different with longer hair. The moment we cut the hair or go for a trim, we look different. Without anything, we can, because looking at the head, we can recognize this person. So it becomes a part of our personality. We recognize the person just from backside also, because of their shape and head. Nobody, I don't think anybody has doubt, or anybody cannot recognize this person in this gathering. So for dancers, there is a clear-cut rule that, because whether it is hairstyle, whether it is jewelry, whether it is the costumes, the design, means the dancers, most of the dancers' pictures should be, the entire body should be, because they express through their bhavas and mudras. And mudras are combination of their hand, legs, and means the bhava is from their expressions. So dancer's picture generally we should take full, but if we need close-up, we have employed the same rule. If the hands are hanging in the side, it will be chopped up in the wrist. So we have folded back the hand, and we have safely we have cropped here. Otherwise, the hands will look amputated. So dancers, their costumes, their headgear, jewelry, everything is very important. In portraiture, there is another rule. If the subject is looking at a side, we must give more breathing space in that side. Otherwise, the picture looks claustrophobic or suffocating. So we should, in ideal portraiture, the direction where, whether it is animal, whether it is the lines in our landscape, or where it is in portraits, if the subject is looking at one side, we should give more breathing space. The eyes are in the golden plane, and the hands are folded here. They are not amputated, and there is an expression in the picture. Looks good. Face towards the front we should give. Now, let us look at this picture. Another very important aspect in picture of living people, whether it are animal or whether they are human being, is the catch light in the eye. Particularly in portrait, you can see the right side. Now, the left side eyes looks more sparkling or more alive, full of life, than the right side eyes, which doesn't have a spot catch light in the eyes. So in portrait photography, catch light in the eyes are also not only been. I have heard that people who take animals also, they use a flash in the on their camera to get the catch light in the eyes of the birds or animals. But in fashion photography, no rules. There is no rules in fashion photography. It has to look different, and then only it qualifies for fashion photograph. So whether you crop the, like now you can feel what I was talking, that if we crop it just above the feet, it looks amputated. The hands do not look amputated, but here the feet looks amputated. It is not allowed in ideal portraiture, but it is allowed in fashion. Here the palm is cropped, the head is cropped, but in fashion photography there is no rules for that. It is the photographer, whatever he decides for whatever reason. Here I have cropped it just below the knee, but it doesn't look amputated because the limbs are not visible. They are covered with sari. So if she is wearing a sari, whether we crop it here or just above the feet or near the waist, doesn't matter. The picture doesn't look imbalance or doesn't look wrong. In ideal painting or this thing, that is why if the limbs are not visible, we can crop anywhere we want. But ideal thing, this is full length. This thing, if we're close up, we can crop it anywhere in this kind of picture. Again, if they're sitting also, we can, in painting, we can take full length. If they're standing also, we can take full length. The picture looks comfortable and good. A little more space towards where she's looking. Here, little more space towards the left of the subject, means towards where they're visible. The picture looks comfortable. Where we can violate, means generally we keep our head in the upper 2/3, upper golden line or golden plane of our picture. But there are time or occasions when we violate that rule. If it is a picture of a god with a big crown, if it is a picture of a king with a big crown, or if it is so they are wearing any headgear like a turban, in such situation where we want closure, our head can be in the lower 2/3 rather than above 2/3. If we keep the head above 2/3, our headgear, which is important in this picture, will be cropped. So here, in such situation where there is the headgear is important, we can violate the rule and keep our eyes in the lower 2/3. This is an exception in the eye position. Group photographs are a totally different ball game altogether. Here, the earlier photographers, they used to keep them in single plane, asking them in single to sit in benches and one line on the bench, one line behind standing them. And if there are clear lines in the picture, if they are sitting in one line or two lines, we don't look at the face, we miss them because we just scan through the image, we don't stop at face. You remember all of us, we have taken group pictures when we left our college or school, group picture of our entire class. Even if we knew our own face, we can identify. It takes time, we scan it 2 or 3 times to identify ourselves, because when we're looking at the picture, our eyes just scan through it and we miss ourselves in the picture. We have to see it again and again, face by face, to look at ourselves. So if our faces are not kept in single file, when there is no line, our eyes don't travel fast, we stop in every jerk and we form triangles in the picture. Because triangles are the strongest composition, pyramid composition in image, and little, means we don't try to keep them in single plane. So when we are taking, this is a diamond composition, you see their faces are not in the single plane, then it looks more interesting. This is called diagonal composition. Again, comes under group photograph. This is diagonal composition, looks very comfortable, looks good. This is triangular composition. Even if third subject was not there, by adding the reflection of one of them, we have got a third subject in this. Triangular composition is supposed to be a very strong composition. Diagonal composition, lot of movement in the picture. We travel up, we travel down, and our eyes gets chance to move in the picture and makes it interesting. Here we travel through the triangle. Again, violating the rule means it is, I told you just now that we should not keep them in straight line, but here I have kept them in straight line. But the picture look interesting because this is zigzag composition. But whether it is zigzag or not, because this is a fashionable group picture, this is not our ideal artistic group photograph, because this is a fashionable pose, fashionable group picture. I have highlighted the group, but still the picture looks different and good. This is O composition. What happened when we have followed the rules of composition for so many years, it becomes a part of our DNA. Whether we like it or not, we start taking picture where the composition looks interesting. Or when we have power to compose them ourselves or arrange the subject like still life or group photograph, we arrange them in a particular style that the picture looks pleasing. And finally, while taking the picture, I might not have thought that this conforms to the O composition, but when I looked at it, I found that this conforms to our O composition in the picture. Even the group photograph, we can apply the rule of O composition in our studio. Now, this is another image where our eyes travel. We enter here, the brightest spot on the left-hand side, then our eyes travel, goes there, comes back, and again it comes back. So this also forms a O composition. So it is not only in portraiture, not only in wildlife, we can use composite even in our industrial photography. This is triangular composition, looks very strong. This is because pyramid are the strongest thing. They are not breaking even after thousands of years. So triangular composition are supposed to be a very strong composition. This is also triangular composition. It gives a lot of stability. This is the triangle plus the curves as curve in the picture makes it interesting. This is L composition. This line L composition, but you see this N composition, L composition, this thing we call it, not necessarily that our picture should fall into this. After taking picture later, I realized that this is conforming to when I was searching for a L composition picture, I have taken out these pictures. It is not that while taking, I was intentionally trying to take a picture with L composition. So it becomes inherent, it becomes a part of it. That is why when we take a picture, when we go in a group in the same place, same time, we take picture of different people, compose it differently, and the pictures look different. But when we come back, our friends who have gone with us, they say, how your picture looks so good, why our picture is not looking so good. So partly because without any, subconsciously we take a picture with perfect composition. That is why our picture look better. And second thing, of course, the editing process also brings our attention to the subject and makes the picture look better than a picture which is not composed properly or not processed properly. Now, in high key and low key, black against black, white against white, but the picture, both of them, they look interesting. Faces or the eyes are in the golden plane. Compositionally, both are correct. Picture looks good. In portrait photography, we should never, I was telling light is also a very integral part in a good picture, particularly in portrait photography. You take a picture with a picture of a tiger or a flower with a low light, doesn't matter because they don't react to it. But human being, when the light comes from bottom, the face looks horrible. That is why it is called horror light. We should never use, yes, if we are trying to create horror effect, like we go to a horror film, same good looking child or same good looking heroine suddenly looks devilish. Next time you go to a horror picture or you see a horror picture, notice that suddenly the light is coming from bottom. Many times what happened in stages, in auditorium, like in Visakhapatnam it has happened, they had put there are a lot of dance programs there, and the lights, main lights are kept on the stage, on the ground of the stage, on the floor of the stage, and always the dancer and the performers were getting low light and they were looking horrible. Our picture, what we were taking, were looking horrible. Then I showed them the difference. The auditorium owners, they understood, they realized it. Now the lights are raised. They have put the lights on stands, and now light falls on the performance from top, not from bottom. So we should avoid, particularly on human being, light coming from bottom. Now let us talk about landscape photography. What are the rules, general rules we will discuss. In landscape photography, we should see that the horizon line is not in the center. By a habit, because our camera, when we are looking, we put our horizon line in the center. This divides the picture into two equal halves. So what we should do, if the upper part is interesting, we should keep the horizon in the lower 2/3, lower golden plane. If the sky is interesting, foreground is not interesting, means sky is interesting, we should keep more of sky and less of foreground. If the sky is bland like this, we should have more of foreground and less of sky. Now let us look at this picture. Now I have replaced the sky with a cloud. So now the sky is not bland like this. So now I have reduced the foreground because there is a subject, but more than this, it is only water. But whereas the sky, after adding sky, the sky looks interesting, the upper half. So we can keep the horizon in the lower half, where the foreground background is interesting. Whereas in this picture, the foreground here, it is not, there is nothing in this. There is no subject in a major part, almost half of the frame. There is nothing in front, whereas the clouds are good. So this composition will not look as good as this composition here, because there was nothing in the foreground. We should have less foreground and more of background, because there was a dramatic sky in the picture. To create the feeling of a depth, again, because sky was bland, means it is more of foreground. But to create depth, we should have something in the immediate foreground that gives us the feeling of depth in the landscape. Landscape should have a foreground, a middle ground, and the background. So generally, systematically, we generally see that there is a foreground, there is a midground, and there is a background in landscape picture, and there should be a feeling of depth. Then it is a successful. In this picture also, like these people are in the foreground, and there is a subject which balances these people, and it gives us a feeling of depth also in landscape. Same thing, even if it is one subject, we, because of the lines and all, we get a feeling. We have kept the subject off center. You can say here, they're both up center. The top person also is off center. Now, like I was telling, if they are standing, they don't look, even if this is an arranged picture in Vietnam. But if they keep walking, this was taken when it was very dark, much before sunrise. When we reached there, it was absolutely pitch dark. We were just thinking where our tour operator has brought us. But when slowly light was building up, we saw the beautiful sky and the sea. We saw, then these people were arranged and they were asked to pose in a particular way. So if they're walking, we will have shake in the picture. The light was so dark. So we had asked them to stand. Now you can see that they don't look like moving because they're in vertical line. They are not in diagonal line. So they are posing for us. But it's the same thing, because the sky was interesting and foreground subject. So the horizon is kept in the lower 2/3. Here again, foreground, midground, and background, a picture taken. So because horizon line is not visible here because of the smoke, it can be composed any way we want. But the reflection, it was interesting, so I took it this way. Whenever there is a reflection in the picture, we can safely keep the horizon in the center. Up a little off center also doesn't matter, but rule, we are not violating much if there is a reflection in the picture, if we keep the horizon in the center. Now, when we take a picture like this, we don't realize how tall are these formations. So if we include a scale, when we look at the car, we know it will be around 5 feet or 5.5 feet high. So this must be around 40, 50 feet tall, these formations. Then the road leads us to our subject. And from the road also we get a scale that, okay, if this is around 20 feet wide road or 15 feet wide road, how tall will be this? So there should be a sense of scale, and this also adds depth to the picture. Now let us look at this picture. What do you feel about this picture? You can unmute yourself and tell me.
Abstract.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, it
There's
is.
a cloth with light from one side and dark on the other. I'm like it's being put partly on only half of the right side. Right.
Okay. Anil sir, yes.
To me, it looks very interesting visually, but little incomplete. But I like as it is.
Bang on the subject, sir. Bang on the point. Now, what do you feel? Picture is complete?
No, I like the previous one.
This one?
Yes.
I felt this is incomplete. This picture complete. Now you see the picture is dead in when the subject is dead in the center, but it gives us an emotion. He is traveling alone early in the morning, a stormy day. He has to travel so far. There is no companion. He has to travel alone. So much of hardship, or he is so much of solitude in the picture. This message we don't get in this picture, except a stormy formation. Oh, Achha, you are a abstract photographer, I forgot. So your interpretation will be a little different than us, sir. But I feel personally that this picture is, like you said, it was incomplete, the earlier picture, very true. This objecting a center of interest or a subject in the picture gives it a emotion, makes it complete. So there is another big no in landscape photography. Horizon should not be tilted. Means they should not be in the center and they should not be tilted. Now we are going to talk about travel photography. This was a Kechak dance in Bali. So what is the definition of travel photography? Do you feel, Anil sir, this is a successful travel photograph?
Yes, of course, certainly.
So what is travel photography? So this picture, you feel this will go in travel section, sir?
I am not very much for this picture, but the previous one is fitting very much into the travel category, but not this one.
This shows the culture of the people. When they're having festival Kalungam, they go to temples for worship. So what is travel photography? Travel photography is the art of visually documenting the people, culture, landscapes, and experiences, whether it is experiences of food or any water sports or any games or anything, the experiences of the place, to convey the unique sense of the location and life. That is the definition. Of course, this definition changes for different photographers, but I feel a successful travel photographer is that which tempts you to pack your baggage and go to that place to take that picture. It looks tempting. It looks attractive to us, that makes us tempt us to go to that place, that location. Then it is a successful travel photograph. So let us say this image again. This is a picture from Bali. That our pictorial composition, the what we say, the devotees are going to the temple by boat with that. It is during same festival time. Looks like a successful travel photograph. Banaras during Dev Deepavali, a travel photograph. Holi in Nandgaon. This is a travel photograph. The Ganga Aarti in Haridwar. Successful travel pictures just before because when the Aarti starts, it is pitch dark. We don't see the crowd, how many people are there. The Cambodia. This is the Kumbh Mela in Haridwar, just before they take a dip. So this also, because I have not taken, of course there are close-ups also, but this is a travel photograph. But can we say that this is a travel picture? No, because this is not the culture of Bali. Waterfalls can be anywhere. It doesn't say that it shows Bali or from the waterfall or from this movement. We can page this action anywhere. So we cannot call it a travel picture. This picture, because we have planted the dancer, made it pose, it will not go in travel picture. It will go in world in focus. Arranged pictures do not, as per PSA guideline, they say that arranged pictures will not be accepted in travel. But FIAP, that is why they call it world in focus. And arranged pictures is acceptable or admissible in where FIAP, if it is FIP recognized. Again, this is arranged picture, so it will go in world in focus. This shows the culture. Bali, in Bali they call it 1930 concept. But I don't think in 1930 the ladies were topless there. But they call it, Balinese, they call it 1930 concept. So when we go, they arrange a session for us in their 1930 concept, and we get good pictures there. Let us say this, the soya sauce factory. This is interesting. Now, here, you must be thinking that this picture is taken from a higher angle. So how this is also arranged picture, but it will go in travel. So this picture is taken like this. They give us these ladders like this so that we can go up. Otherwise, if we are taking from floor level, we get a disturbing background. You can see the backgrounds are very messy. They're not in good condition. So they look bad if we are including the background. So if we are taking from top, we get pictures like this, or we can take by drone. I will show you those images little later. So this is also arranged picture. Now this picture, the Varanasi without the balloons also may look like a travel picture, but balloons more makes it that it is because it is not an everyday affair. So must be some occasion. That is why the balloons are hoisted. So it becomes a journalistic picture because it becomes a news that on this Dev Deepavali time or on Sankranti time, balloons were also flown early in the morning in the Ghat of Ganges. So the balloons makes it a journalistic picture, otherwise it is a travel picture. It will go in travel also, photojournalism also. Now we are going to street photography. In fact, I was not in favor of going into landscape photography or travel photography. All of you are experts and you know the rules and regulations of the definitions of this picture. But Mr. Amitabh felt that there are many beginners also in our, it is not only experts, even beginners are there. They should also be benefited because Chhayankan always looks at the benefit. The people should learn something in the webinar or workshop and go. So he said for them, we have to include and define what is travel photography, what is street photography. So composition wise, these two works as leading line. This is street photography, is an art of capturing candid moments of everyday life. This happens every day in public spaces. They don't say it has to be, even if it is street photography, it has to be only on streets. No, it can be any public place, whether it is a ghat, whether it is in a shop or anywhere. In public places, if we find something interesting, we can take street pictures. Composition, if it is appealing to us, it will appeal to the viewer also. If we can take care of the composition, keep the subject little off center, or if we can conform to the rules of composition, it makes a stronger pictures. Street Pakka. Banaras is a heaven for street photography. I have done my street photography only in Banaras and few in Cambodia and Bali. Otherwise, I don't take street photographs much. But these are the streets of Banaras. You can spend a whole month doing street photography in Banaras, and every day will be different. I have gone 6 times to Banaras, and every time in the same place, I get different pictures. Like this is a typical lane or street of Banaras. The gully is Galiyan of Banaras. We enter and you can see that one person is going by scooter here. There is a cycle parked there. There is another scooter happily standing there in such rush and talking with the ladies. Absolutely neither the other people who are traveling, they mind his standing and blocking the path. They find their own way. This is something great I see in Banaras. Nobody minds this kind of attitude. This is also a street photograph. It also shows our faith in religion, and a successful street photograph. This picture becomes interesting only when we look at the expressions of the painting on the wall. This lady is changing dress and you see the funny expressions on the wall on those people. That makes this picture interesting. That is why I had clicked. In Cambodia, Bali, you will find a lot of painters. They paint sitting beside the street. This is also a colorful street photograph. Another picture from Haridwar, Kumbh Mela. So the walls were also painted freshly with Kumbh Snan and all this. And it was Corona time. That is why you see the mask on their face. And when we came back, the Corona it was the second wave, became very fierce. A lot of people died. This is also taken in Bali. This is also a painter. And you see his shop right beside the street. Even if it is centrally composed, still I feel the picture looks interesting. We don't miss the painter in the jumble or in the clutter of the pots. Still, because of the shape is different, we are very comfortably able to identify our subject. Now again, also street photographs. This happens during Dev Deepavali time. I think Kumbhakarn, they do puja on the ghat. Now we're talking about photojournalism. Photojournalism is the practice of telling real news story through truthful and timely photographs that document actual events. That means there has to be a news quotient to the picture. Like this is, let us say, our Chhat Puja in Banaras Ghat. The boats in the river says that it is Banaras because these kind of boats we find only in Banaras, and Chhat Puja is celebrated like this. So this becomes a news. Yes, devotees celebrated Chhat Puja in the Ghat of Ganges. Next day, this picture may come in the news. So this makes a journalistic picture. Everybody knows about this picture, how Kevin Carter, this was a very successful and became a very controversial picture. It became so controversial that finally the photographer had committed suicide because of the controversy it had generated. Because in a press interview, a press person asked him, Mr. Carter, how many vultures do you see in the picture? And he said one. But the reporter said, no, I see two. One in front and one behind the camera. And that hit him so hard that he went into depression and finally he committed suicide. So this is the impact of a successful journalistic picture. Another very successful picture, you see, this picture has followed the rules of composition, whether intentionally or unintentionally, I don't know. I have heard that he took this picture, he didn't get down from the car. He took this picture from his automobile, from the transport, from the car only. So whether he has arranged the composition or not, I don't know. There was no news about that. This picture has definitely not followed, but this was also an award-winning, successful journalistic picture without following the rules of Nick Wood became famous with this picture. Now let us look at this picture. This is journalistic pictures. We talk about Swachh Ganga, Ganges, and every day we wash hundreds of dead bodies in the river. The people have died because of infection, or why they have died, we don't know. Washing them in Ganges definitely pollutes our sacred river, but this practice continues. Nobody can stop it because it is a belief that if our bodies are dipped in Ganga, we get moksha. So it is a debatable issue. We need not, but it is a generalistic picture. We can, people who are against this, they can say that we should not do this. Spiritual people say that yes, unless they are dipped in Ganga, they don't get moksha. But anyway, this is a generalistic picture showing perfectly the water shortage of the area. It shows that there's so much of water shortage. That means when the tanker comes, so many people fight to get water. This, further, can we call it a journalistic image? No, because this is not news. It happens every day. It can go in travel because journalistic, it doesn't make news. It happens every day. So it is not a news. So we can call it a travel picture, not a journalistic picture. Now, this bomb blast, yes, definitely journalistic. And I will show you why the impact is so big of this picture, and otherwise how the impact would have lost, I will show you. This is definitely a journalistic image, the Ganga Snan during Mahakumbh recently. This image. You see, the picture to most of you is not interesting, but this is a Buddhist site in Visakhapatnam of Hinayan era. That means 2,500 years, 2,400 years old structure. For Buddhist people, this is very, very sacred place. But the picture either looks like an interesting travel picture, and these doesn't come under journalism at all. That's why I have included. But because on Buddha Purnima day, all the monks, they come there to pray, making it a journalistic picture. Without the monks here on Buddha Purnima day, this is not a journalistic picture. It will not even qualify in travel section. Now this picture, can we call it a journalistic picture because it happened daily? Yes, it will make a journalistic picture if the person who is doing it, either he is Modi or Yogi or some celebrity, then it becomes a journalistic picture. Otherwise, it will go in travel or pictorial section. So the person in the picture will change the section of the picture. Now, I was telling you how to make it newsworthy. We see clutter or the waste thrown by our sea, the plastic pollution. But this picture doesn't look there is too much of plastic pollution on the Vizag beach. But the moment we take the same picture from ground level, the same small amount of plastic looks huge, as if there is too much of debris on the beach, and the beach is not clean. Whereas here the beach doesn't look so bad. Here the beach looks unclean, and it also strongly shows the plastic menace on our beach. It makes a successful journalistic picture. So now wildlife. All you wildlife photographers must be smiling. Agrawal talking about wildlife. He has never taken a picture. True. All my wildlife pictures are shot in zoo. This is a picture, I think in Singapore Zoo. I had taken this picture. So wildlife photography is the art of photographing free-ranging animals, birds in their natural habitat, capturing authentic behavior and natural interaction without human interference. Then nature slightly different because in wildlife, landscape and plants, trees and geological formation do not come. But in nature, they are also included. I also take wildlife pictures in my studio. My animals are two-legged. My birds are not having wings. But once Mr. Satish was telling when he came to Visakhapatnam, and in his presentation, our chief guest, the police commissioner, asked him when he was showing his pictures that are they not dangerous? They were so close to the jeep. So Mr. Satish had said that animals are not so dangerous as the most dangerous animals are human beings. So my wildlife photography, my subjects are human beings. They are more dangerous than your wildlife pictures. Initially, the rule of composition in wildlife was to place the subject. The rule of composition was to place the subject in the center and a viewer should get full information looking at the picture about the animal. A person with normal common sense should be able to know, identify the animal looking at the picture, and the subject should be sharp. But over time, means particularly, I have not seen many changes in other genre of photography, in pictorial photography or travel photography or this thing, but wildlife has undergone a big change in these years because of the medium. It has become digital. So not only digital, cameras are automatic. We are getting bigger lenses now. So simple picture like this do not qualify or it is not considered to be a strong picture unless they are in some rare action. The animal or birds, unless they are in action, they do not qualify for, if we are talking about salons. Otherwise, this was the rule. Earlier, means you see now this picture looks like almost like a pictorial picture, but the subject is still in the center. Here, the subject is still in the center because hardcore wildlife photographer keeps the subject in center. Full animal should be there, and the atmosphere has given it a pictorial feeling to it. So this is also successful. This without following the rules of pictorialism, but in wildlife, here you see there is a movement. There is action in the picture. In the beginning, we were talking about movement in the picture. Here, we don't see movement. It is static, passive picture. But here, there is a lot of dynamism and movement in the picture in this composition. This picture will not qualify in wildlife section because human interference, putting color on that. Yes. Now, birds, they should be in some action. Such close-ups, left side, these elephants, few judges, they accept it. Few old judges, still they don't accept it. But this makes interesting wildlife pictures, as per my opinion. Close-ups are very intimate emotion or action of the animals. It makes it interesting. Here, the birds are also in an interesting way. Some people, they crop their take tight close-ups, but few people like Mr. Kola, they use pictorial composition even when he's showing the entire ambience of the landscape. Even Mr. Satish webinar, he had included many pictures where the subject was composed pictorially. So we can even use pictorial lighting in our composition. It makes little different than a regular wildlife pictures. Now, so we had been talking about seeing the image, our main subject clearly. So it is not only placing the subject in a particular place, there are many other techniques in photography by which we can make our subject little more interesting. So let us like framing, leading lines, slow shutter speed, high shutter speed, rule of odds, then the written matter, cropping, spatial lighting. There are many other ways how we can make our picture interesting. We're talking about composition to make our picture strong and interesting. So these are the few other techniques how we can make our picture interesting, our center of interest interesting. Now, let us see. Everybody knows it is so common that throwing the background out of focus so that the main subject can be in focus. It is available now in every mobile phone in portrait setting. The background are artificially, by artificial intelligence, is thrown out of. They don't open the shutter. It is a fixed shutter. Aperture in mobile phone. But they use artificial intelligence to keep only one subject in focus and throwing other subjects in out of focus. Otherwise, we have to buy a very expensive lens with a fast lens, 1.4 or 1.8 or 2.8 to throw background out of focus so that our subject is separated from the cluttered background and the subject is clearly visible. Even if same subject, there are hundreds behind it, we see our only one subject because it is sharp, others are unsharp. This is one way of bringing attention to our main subject. Now, framing. Earlier, when we were learning, generally this is the way we used to frame. We thought this is the way of framing, or this is the way of framing our subject. But no, framing doesn't stop only this way. There are many other ways we can frame our subject. These birds filling the bland sky frames our attention to the main subject. Without those birds, the picture will look like this. With the birds, it looks as if the subject is framed by the birds. This whale, without the whale, we will also look at the nose, also at the lips. But by using this whale as a frame, now we see the eyes. She had beautiful eyes, and we wanted to highlight her eyes. So we used her whale as a frame to concentrate our attention only on her eyes. These flags have they are also working as leading lines, and they have filled the negative space in the picture and also work as a frame for the subject. We can frame our subject this way also. This is in Kumbh Mela. This picture was taken. These are security personnel. So little sitting, I took framing the pilgrims from low angle. Or even in industrial photography, I use this framing technique and differential focus technique to highlight, to make the picture look little different than what others take. We can also feel that this baskets, fishing basket also works like a frame on the weavers. Same thing. This poles work as a frame for the sun. The moment we look at it, it works as a frame for the sun. The feathers has framed the face. So little, it is not that only we must use frame in its literal sense. Here, the wheel, the lines in the wheel, the hands, it taking us to the subject works as leading lines. But also this wheel frames our main subject. The action is the main subject in this, and the wheel has framed our main subject. Now we are going to talk about leading. We can also call it as a frame. This is frame, the boat in the distance, but these pictures I am showing as leading lines. These lines leads us to the boat. So again, our lines need not be strictly strong lines like this to understand that these are leading lines which are taking us to our subject. We can use even this also works as a line. We travel in this line and don't miss our workers there. The workers are in golden points, and this also is a leading line. This also works as a leading line. The footsteps, it need not be always covered with a frame. Sorry, leading lines, strong line. Even this works as a leading line in the picture. Here, the thin line here and the fingers, they work as a leading line to the eyes. Here, the water splash, when we see enter the picture in left hand side, then our eyes travel along with the water and then comes back to the subject. It works as a leading line. Suggestive, these are all suggestions, suggestive leading lines. But can we call it a leading line? No, because leading line should always lead us to something. It is leading us to the person here. It is leading us to the eyes. It is leading us to the model. Here, it is not leading us to anything. So we can say this is patterns, repetitive patterns, or these lines are there, may make it an interesting industrial picture. But suppose there is a worker standing here, either counting or writing something, then it will work as a leading line. Without the subject or center of interest, this we cannot call it. It is a leading line in the picture. Here, this comes on street photography, but I'm using it as a leading line. Habitually, the moment we look at this picture, we look at enter the picture through left. This nose takes us into the picture. Then we see the subject. We don't miss our main subject. And even if it is a clutter, but our message is clear, we don't miss our main subject. We can also call it as a framing. You see the black mass in the foreground and both sides that concentrates our attention only on the subject. So it can be, we can call it a framing also, we can call it a leading line also, but the picture looks interesting. It can go in travel also, journalism also, street photography also, and we can also show it as a leading line. Now, in photography, we should avoid written material, otherwise they distract us from the main subject. If there is something written in the frame which we can read, our attention psychologically goes to the written material and later to the subject. That is why advertising world, they use a subject, but we don't miss the name of the company because it is written there. We see it. If it is written in a language which we cannot read, it doesn't disturb us. But if we can read it, it disturbs us. Like you see this image, without that written material, the impact is better. Distraction is less. There is no distraction in the picture without the written material. So we have cropped it. Now, why I have put this picture as in written matter we should avoid. You see the clutter in the whole image. Our eyes see the Ghat of Banaras everywhere, but our eyes don't stop anywhere till we reach the letters on the board. Even if it is in a very small area, our eyes rest only when we reach this board. Otherwise, it only moves around. It doesn't rest anywhere. It rests only. So written matter in the frame is so powerful. Where we want attention, where we don't want attention, we should accordingly include that or exclude that in our frame. Then the rule of odds. So when we are including a group of subjects in our photograph, we should make it an odd number rather than an even number. Odd number looks more interesting. So in portrait or anything, particularly in still life, where the photographer had full authority or full power to use whether 2 subjects or 3 subjects or 5 subjects or 4 subjects, still he has used 5 object because the rule of painting says that odd number makes this picture more interesting. And I have seen that the odd number makes more interesting here. The 3 people, the triangular composition makes it more interesting rather than if this reflection is not there. Now, when we look at this picture, means it is the kind of nude I do for myself. In workshops, I arrange pictures for salons because people come here to take salon pictures. Of course, this picture also was arranged in a workshop only where the like-minded people were there, and my ideas synced with them. We were in sync. So this is showing the torture or the difficulty of the person with the chain in the hand, the discomfort she must be feeling. But this discomfort increases more because now she looks as if she is caged. We get a feeling of claustrophobia. We feel more suffocated. Then here more space is there, when here less space is there. Earlier we used space to change the meaning. That person looked more powerful, having a bigger kingdom when we increase the space. Here we have cropped intentionally to make the agony much more, or the suffering more, by cropping it and making the impact or to get the emotion of claustrophobia or suffocation. Now, balancing the image. When there is something very strong in the foreground and there's a lot of negative space, if we place something in that place, it balances the composition and picture looks more interesting. The distant subject should be less imposing less important, less powerful. The foreground subject should be the main hero or main subject in the picture. It is called balancing. So we can see this image. These boats in the distance who are less imposing are balancing perfectly. Otherwise, there will be too much of a negative space in the image, and there will be a big uninteresting area in the frame. Now these two boats have balanced these people taking bath, and it is a example of balancing in composition. Here you can see this left side photographer pointing the camera. It takes us straight to the balancing element. These small boats in the distance balances the photographer in the foreground. Then the leading line also helps us in reaching the subject, and this is also balancing, acts as a balancing thing. Now, by using different shutter speed, we can create interesting picture. Anybody, even the first time photographer also in the audience will know what is great about this. We know we have to use a high shutter speed to get this picture. What is great about it? But the moment we start playing with shutter speed, we can make interesting picture. Now look at this picture. It is invisible, like we don't see this, except if Mr. Deep Bhatia is there. So this is the entire technique is different. If we talk about technique, it will waste more time. It is already 8:30. My God. So I will wrap it up faster. So this is by the speed photography, high speed photography, we can take more into invisible. This means by the help of light, we can capture invisible elements in photography. All these three. Then generally, the moment we talk about slow shutter speed, we talk about this kind of images. So we should think little differently and use this technique in a different way. Like let us say this picture. Also, a lot of people take to show movement in still photography, this kind of picture. Panning also is one technique where we can show movement in the picture. But this, you see, this is, I have used slow shutter speed in a different way. Means the birds flying in the background, if they were arrested, their movement was arrested, there would have been distractions. By allowing them to move, by using a slow shutter speed, they just make a pattern in the background, interesting pattern in the background rather than distraction. And I felt that this picture is more interesting. Slight movement in the waves in the water. Even in modeling, it is not only landscape, even in our fashion also, modeling also, this makes the picture more interesting. Not only it gives us a leading line, the sense of movement makes it little different than the ordinary picture of a model. Then rear curtain sink, all of you know, I don't have to tell. Another thing what makes the picture interesting is which something looks different. So macro of insects make them look entirely different like aliens, and they look more interesting than ordinary picture. This is one way. Shooting macro, going too close, also gives us a different kind of pictures. Now, in artistic picture, I thought I will talk about the story, but there is no time about this. But artistic picture, the moment you look at this picture, you feel as these pictures look like painting. Because they look like painting, not like photograph, they look interesting. Usage of light. This is natural gobo light coming from the through the leaves of the palm tree, forming a beautiful pattern on the model. So that makes it interesting. Otherwise, it is an ordinary picture of a model. Here, this is first we were talking about chiaroscuro lighting of painters, what they were saying. So highly contrast single light with black background is called chiaroscuro lighting. So this is chiaroscuro lighting on the model. And this is again chiaroscuro lighting. Here, this shaft of light makes the picture more interesting than an ordinary portrait. lighting has highlighted the texture in this picture, and we get a tactile feeling looking at it, as if we can touch them and we may get hurt because of the thorn may prick us. So texture also, but same means the thing with soft light, it looks like we feel like touching it. Here we are deterred, we don't want to touch it. They look harsh, here they look soft. So lighting plays an important role in bringing out the texture. This is atmosphere adds lot of interest to the light, shafts of light coming through fog makes this picture interesting. Actually, this is smoke created by our tour operator, taken in Vietnam. So this otherwise it would have been a very ordinary picture, two girls walking. If these fogs are not there and shafts of light are not there, this picture would have been very drab. Here the fog has made it interesting. The smoke makes it little different. Then angle. Many people who come to Visakhapatnam, they want to shoot this place. They think it is some big rock formation. Even when Mr. Panchali, when they come to attend our workshops in Arku, they say, we want to go to this place to shoot. Mr. Ashok Kandimala, also when he came, he said, I want to go to this place. But when I shown and I told him about this place, this is absolutely not visible. It is in floor level only. But in low tide, these rocks formations are visible. The whole thing, the width is not more than 10 feet and height is not more than 5 feet. During high tide, this formation is not visible at all. Again, shooting from low angle makes the 5 feet statue look like 20 feet, makes it more interesting, or impact is more when we shoot from low angle. Low angle flowers look different. Then shooting from drones, the totally effect changes when we shoot from drone. The same landscape look totally different. This image from drone, it looks like this. The harvesting looks like this from top. Unless we have drone, we don't see this angle at all. From drone, the landscape in Vietnam, the terrace paddy field looks like this. Now, in editing, we can do a lot of interesting thing. We can send it in pictorial category, means open. They accept this kind of editing. These are interesting editing pictures, experiments. Then humor also makes the picture interesting. The moment we see this image, we get a feeling of fear or insecurity. This is unusual execution of advertising picture. This is another unusual subject. Yeah, glamour is a very big subject and it involves a lot of psychology. It is my time given to me is already up. So I will not explain this. We will go through the pictures. What is glamour? It is a big psychological game. And unless we go through the explanation, only on glamour, a separate webinar can be done. What I'm trying to show, that female only looks glamorous to us, not the man, even if he is not wearing anything. Man doesn't give us the feeling of desire. Like the definition is of glamour is this. Glamour is a visual expression of beauty, fantasy, created through posing, styling, lighting, and presentation to evoke admiration and desire. So that is very important in glamour photography. So what makes the picture desirable and glamorous? There is a big confusing this thing. So now, I told you that I will tell you how to assess your image easily. The simplest way of assessing our image, whether it is good or bad. So when we are all using ChatGPT or other AI platforms. So this time, for the first time, what I did, I asked for the history of framing. I asked about the color. In the same time, what I did, I uploaded a couple of my images, including the flask one. The language what I was talking was, we were getting that same message what ChatGPT told me. But when I started uploading this kind of messages, immediately the language of ChatGPT changed. He gave me 4 pages of explanation for this image. If we look at it from the science side, this is underexposed. Colors are not faithfully recorded. There is a lot of gloomy atmosphere. This might not be a good picture. But when we come to the art side of it, it gave me why this is such a strong picture. And there is so much of psychology it explained. If I wish we had more time to explain. So the Chat GPT considered to a very highly artistic and successful picture in composition, and why it is so artistic and why it is so successful, it told her. So I realized that means rather than showing our pictures to few people, asking them if ye photo acha hai ki nahi, whether this picture good or not, the simplest way is upload your picture wherever you have doubt in Chat GPT, and Chat GPT will dissect your entire picture. Just write while uploading this picture, please analyze this picture compositionally and psychologically, or give me the psychological and compositional analysis of this image, and you get the entire report. Like a blood report, your picture report will be in front of you in seconds. And they're very convincing, very scientific, and very artistic way they say. After 2 or 3 pictures, the ChatGPT started addressing me as a photo artist. And they, when I was asking these questions and doing this, because what is ChatGPT? They collect data from the existing data on the net. So it must have scanned other presentations or other write-ups, other articles on composition. But it started telling me, no, you are beyond the regular rules of composition. You are thinking beyond the regular rules. You are a photo artist. You are not a simple photographer. And its explanation totally changed. Its respect, its address changed, its explanation changed. And he said, for serious photographer, this explanation is this. And it gives an analysis of your picture, good or bad, within seconds. You can upload your picture and get the analysis. So now the bomb of the entire presentation, what the world is saying about pictorial photography now. You see, this magazine I read only 3 days back. This is the January issue of Amateur Photography. If you want, I will share that Amateur Photography in the group. So quality photography is dead, says Instagram chief. So what he says, he is not a small man. He is the chief of Instagram. I will show you. What you see, he says that ordinary picture of the dog, like in the clutter, is more interesting now than the pictorial photography of the dog, which is in left-hand side. It says, Adam Mosseri, head of Instagram, in which he shared views on the future of photography on his personal channel. He says, the traditional Instagram feed of polished photos and beautiful landscape is dead. He declares, in a world where AI can generate flawless imagery, traditional photography can't compete. So photography is now about a more raw and less polished aesthetic pictures, blurry photos, and shaky videos of daily experience. So rather than perfect composition, perfect pictorial pictures, days are gone. Now the picture which has more flaws, more imbalance, more distraction, or looks ordinary, those days have come back again. Like we have to now relearn to be a beginner again. But again here, Nigel Ackersman, he counters that. So I will share that, you can read it, this thing. You might be interested to know who is this. Why we have to take his message seriously, because he's a powerful person. You might say it is easy to dismiss the opinion of one individual, but when that individual is in charge of what is still the world's biggest platform for sharing images, he has the power to turn opinion into fact through Instagram's algorithms and what it chooses to amplify. So what he says, the world feels that that is right. He can change the algorithm of Instagram. And if you see the entire article, it is a very interesting article, eye-opening article, that now we have a audience, one Mr. Dr. G.R. Sridhar. His approach to photography is totally different. It is not, it doesn't conform to pictorial. He admires my pictorial picture, whereas I admire his fresh approach to photography. He wants to take picture like me, and I tell him not to follow us. I tell him, no, your works are all storytelling and very fresh approach. Don't change your style of photography. It is very good. I always admire his approach to photography. So now the world has started the same thing. So junk all the rule of pictorialism, composition, color, and everything, whatever we discussed for 2.5 hours, and again go back to the beginners level. That is what the world says. I don't say that we should agree to that. I don't say that from tomorrow we should practice taking ordinary picture. But very soon world will start speaking about it. So now even same Dr. Sridhar only had shared this image. I asked him, can I share it in my webinar? 2 days back only he had shared this image. This cartoon also said, the husband who is looking at a video, he says that this video looks so real that it must be fake. That anything which is real and perfect today, people now they don't believe. They feel it is fake. So taking perfect pictures, now we have to think twice whether we should take perfect picture or not. And another strong message is, remember, you have to be odd to be number one in the world. So now perfection is not giving us the place. Imperfection is giving more importance in this AI world. So this is where my presentation ends. I'm sorry I hurried through the presentation because there were too many slides. But from today, don't ask whether your photograph follows rules. Ask whether it holds the viewer or not. It should have whether it is generating the right emotion in the viewer or not. Thank you very much for the patient hearing. I am open to questions. The questions I saw in the platform, I think I have covered most of them. Still, if any new question comes to the mind of the audience, I am here.
Thank you, sir.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful presentation. The kind of effort you have put in to making it is can be seen. Yes, time got constrained, but still you did your best. Keeping in view the time, should I invite questions, or should we take up the questions, or should we skip for now?
Ask our friends if they want to ask questions.
Sir, I would, Ashok sir is here.
Okay.
I have given the list of all the questions shared with him. I would request him to ask one or two very relevant question, as we always have question hour. So Ashok sir, it's your privilege to ask whichever one you want, one or two.
The second thing, I will ask, I will request input from our stalwarts, because I have entered into troubled water today. Totally, I have gone against the founded rules of composition, but what is happening in today's world and what I feel a picture should be. So I invite their reactions to the presentation.
So should we, Ashok sir, please.
Yeah, are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. See, the issue is like this. Most of the questions that you had sent me, they are all related to some sort of a salon-like thing, which I think I'm not competent to answer because I don't participate in salons. Maybe it's better somebody like Satish or Agarwal sir respond to that. But
Sir, you may ask those questions to the floor.
Sir,
Agrawal sir or-
if you feel any of the question is not covered in the presentation, you can ask only those questions. We will be happy to reply to that.
I mean, only one comment I can make is that that out of focus and jittery videos are going to be the norm. It is like saying that the future novels will not follow grammar and they can write broken sentences. But I really don't know. Like Mr. Agrawal sir said that there is a very powerful portion, the gentleman who made that statement. So I don't know which way it is going to go. But I mean, it's very difficult to say what sort of impact is going to have in future. Earlier, they used to say one of the most irritating questions to be asked to a photographer is, your photograph is very good, so you must be having very good equipment. So now the question is, your photograph is so good, is it AI? So
if it is imperfect.
So that perhaps inevitably that will be asked, but it is, it is not just this. You can write a very polished English if you want using AI or any language if you want to that. So this is something very difficult to comprehend what is going to happen. I mean, if you ask me personally, I do use a lot of AI. When I write some article, I ask it to check the grammar or spellings or punctuation or something like that. But so far, I resisted myself to asking you to write my own instead of me asking you to write the whole stuff itself. So I hope I will not come to that stage. But it is just it is just something that we should all be aware. I think there's absolutely no doubt.
Sir,
And
if we are getting a perfect message in WhatsApp or somebody sends a message, if it is too perfect or too good, we immediately feel that it is
exactly. That is issue that is too perfect. It is quite obvious that I mean it is it is too good to be true. Then perhaps it's not true. So that's what they say.
Yes.
It is something like that we may have to make.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
May I
I
request
think this is.
Anil sir
Yes, sir.
reflect on.
Yes, sir. Your reactions to the webinar.
What to say, Agrawal Saab? I was so busy listening to you and seeing your beautiful visuals. We were told about the visual language in the excellent way with very appropriate examples. Really, your presentation is very informative and at the same time very absorbing, very interesting too.
And very thought-provoking also, sir.
Yes, very, very thought-provoking and enlightening too. I would like to use that saying, photography, which I liked it very much. Photography is made not to impress others. Photography is it is made to discover you. That is the, I think, very essence of your beautiful presentation, Agrawal Saab. I am really thankful for your beautiful talk, beautiful images, and it touched our heart. Thank you so very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Anil sir. May I invite Satish sir to comment on?
Sir, actually, this today's program was fantastic. In fact, I have not even wasted 1 minute time to go out or anything because it was so even though we are so much experienced in the field of composition or lighting or anything, but still it was very interesting to know the newer aspects of composition. In fact, it was very thought-provoking um, subject, in fact, for every one of us. And as you said, the rules are meant to be broken. Unless and until you break the rules and go in your own way, you can be more creative an artist. Otherwise, if you stick to rules and impress the judges, you are not going to be successful photographer in the future. So that is the essence of this today's compositional thinking. And those are the things which are hidden languages of the images. So that is how I feel in my photography also. I never follow rules or I never stick to salon photography or anything. But as part of my journey, I participate in salons, that's all. But if you want to be a successful photographer, break the rules and get more freedom for your photography. Be an artist. Thank you so much, Bijay sir and Amitabh sir, for conducting such a wonderful webinars. Looking forward to more such beautiful webinars. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Anita Mesurji, if she can comment something.
Oh, definitely, sir. It was the most wonderful presentation. So I have also been reading up a lot about composition, and Agarwal ji definitely did a wonderful job. Gave us a lot of insight into this compositional thinking, and I'm very grateful to him for this knowledge. Thank you so much, Agarwal ji.
Anita ji, congratulations. I attended your webinar yesterday on salon photography. It was a wonderful thing, but I had a pressing engagement, so I had to quit at 8 o'clock. I will request Premaji to, if I can get the recorded thing. I request everybody, they should see what a wonderful presentation she gave on YPS platform yesterday. It was very beautiful and very, very interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Anita ji.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now I invite Kola Venkateshwarlu ji, if you can, if you want to reflect. Kola ji, are you there? Deep Bhatia ji, aap hain? Can you hear me?
వెంకటేశ్వర గారు అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి.
Deep Bhatia ji.
ఇది వాయిస్ రావడం లేదండి వెంకటేశ్వర గారు.
హలో.
వినిపిస్తుంది. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు రైట్ వినిపిస్తున్నారు.
श्रीधर सर, आप कुछ रिफ्लेक्ट करना चाहते हैं?
Yes, myself.
Yes, if you please kindly reflect.
I've known Mr. Agrawal from 1981 or 82. So each time I saw his photographs, I was astonished how beautifully they were composed. I used to try to copy him or some of them, but he told me that if you want to take photographs like me, you have to borrow my vision. And no matter what the Instagram chief says, whatever picture appeals to the person who takes it or to the person who sees it, that's good.
Yes.
And in our textbook, they said there are so many definitions of calling a person fat, but when a person looks fat, he is fat. So in the same way, so you need to train your eye. You have to look at a lot of photographs, and then perhaps down the line, your sense of composition would evolve. And what he said has been overshadowed by what he showed. It will take at least 3 or 4 months to go back to the video and then learn a lot more than what he has spoken in words. Thank you, Mr. Agrawal. I thought I knew a lot about you, but today evening has multiplied how much more there is to know from you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I wish I could have invited more people to reflect upon, as so many people have come. Yes, sir. Yeah, Kolaji, you are here, please.
Amitabh sir.
Yes.
Agrawal sir.
Yes, sir.
Finally, I am saying you are the master. That's it. Finally, that is the word. You are the master. I am the beginner. Today onwards.
अरे समझ बोलिए
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks for your great words, sir. Thank you.
No, my idea was, rather than anything, if it is thought-provoking, like rightly Sir said, if it is thought-provoking and we start thinking in a different way about composition and making picture, then I will feel happy that it was successful.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I wish to extend thanks to everyone, the galaxy of photography world who was present today in this webinar, this spare time. We could see the attendance of 70 members joining Zoom and about 27 members joining online on the YouTube. And even up to, I could see that up to 55 stayed most of the time. That shows the people had, the time was overrunning, but still people stayed there. Thank you very much to everyone. Thanks a lot, everyone. It's everyone's participation that makes the program success and encourages us to do more and more in this direction. So without taking much more time, the personal thanks to all of you. And yes, sir, please.
Last thanks to both the Mr. Agarwals. Mr. A. Agarwal ensured that Mr. B.K. Agrawal did not read out from his grandfather's history notes. Okay.
Very aptly worded, sir. Very aptly worded. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So I wish everyone a wonderful evening. Enjoy your drinks or have a lot of fun. Sir, drinks हर तरीके की होती है, क्यों लेकिन नहीं होती है. और tomorrow is the Republic Day. Our Constitution came in place. Let's celebrate warmly. And thank you very much. Wishing everyone a happy Republic Day. Thank you very much. Good night very much.
Thank you all for staying and tolerating me so long. And thank you very much.
सर मैं आपको बहुत ज्यादा थैंक्स दे ही नहीं पा रहा हूँ अपने से क्या करूँ You are so close to the family कि आपको थैंक देना लग रहा है मैं अपने को थैंक दे रहा हूँ
Sir, a small request. There were many questions posted in the WhatsApp group. I understand due to shortage of time, we can't address it right now. Maybe we can address it in the WhatsApp group itself whenever we have
Oh
some.
yes, sure.
Thank you.
We'll take up and do it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.